Hello, my name is Belay. This is a research methods. Today we are going to see research variables. What is a variables? Definitions of the variables. The following are the most or among the different definitions of the variables. The concept that can be measured or explained in operational terms is called variable. A variable is simple to which numerals or values are attached. Variables can be classified into different categories from several point of views. The important ones are as under explanatory variable and criterion variables, or independent variable and the dependent variable in research. If X may consider to be the cause of Y, then X is described as explanatory variable, also termed as causal or independent variable. And Y is described as criterion variable, also termed as resultant or dependent variable. Totally in research, we know it as independent and dependent variable. Why we say dependent and independent? Which one is dependent? Which one is independent? We have discussed on the previous video on our different videos. So we have discussed about dependent and the independent variable. So you can refer or you can get from my other videos. In some cases, both explanatory variables or independent variables and the criterion variables may consist of a set of many variables in which causes sets x1, x2, x3 to xp may be called a set of explanatory variables, that is independent variable. Another set of the variable is set y1, y2, 3, and the like up to yq may be called a set of criterion variable or dependent variable. Is a variation of the former may be supposed to cause the variation of latter as a whole. This is cause and effect relationship kind, or we can call it the function of. That means y is the function of x, that is x1, x2, x3. That is dependent variable is depending on independent variable. Independent variable can affect a dependent variable. That is why it is independent and dependent. In economics, the explanatory variable are called external, or it is called as exogenous variable or external parts, which affects the internal one. And criterion variables or independent variables are called endogenous variable or dependent variable, affected variable. So we have such variable. Some people use the term external criterions for explanatory variable and the term internal criterions for creation variable. That is dependent and independent. The main is this one. The second is observable variables and latent variable. Observable variable and latent variables. Observable means a variable that we observe, that we have in our research, and we know and we control. But latent variable is that we have not included into our research variables, but that can affect our research. This is known as, in another ways, the error terms. When we construct the model, for example, y is equal to a plus bx plus e, we can say. As you know, a is intercepts, b is a slope, x is a variable, and e is error terms. What is error terms? We have discussed this one in the previous, also one of our previous videos. But for now, error terms or latent variables is a variable that affects our research outputs, but we don't know what kind of that variables or what kind of events that affects our problems. That is why we hold it by making it under undefined variable, or we can say error variable. Now, explanatory variables described above are supposed to be observable directly in some situation, and if this is so, some are termed as observable variables. However, there are some unobservable variables which may influence the criterions variables or dependent variable. Dependent variable can be affected by or impacted by independent variable and also by latent variable or by error variable. But we don't know that error variable. But we can hold it by using error, by adding error. As we said, a plus y is equal to a plus bx plus, we can say that is unobserved variable or u, or error variable or e. We call such an observable variable as latent variable. So you can get from your research, when you construct or specify your model, you have to add latent variable as the end that holds your error or variable you haven't include to your research, but that affects your dependent variable or criterion variable. The third one is discrete variables and the continuous variable. Discrete variable is a variable which, when measured, may take only the integer values, whereas continuous variable is in one which, when measured, can assume any real variable, even in decimal points. Everything is taken into account in continuous. In discrete, you can take only the full, the observable one. We will see which one is discrete, which one is continuous variable. We will see it. The other one, or number 4, is dummy variable or pseudo variable. This term is being used in technical sense and is useful in algebraic manipulation in context of multivariate analysis. This dummy variable is used in logit probit terms. For example, to say male or female, male and the female, they are not measurable at this time. By saying what is male, what is female, we don't know whether it is by measuring like quantitatively. So to make it quantitative, we can use this pseudo variable or dummy variable. For example, if male, we can say number 1. All value of 1 is male. If female, we can use 0. So all the value of female is 0. If the value of 0 is measured, or if we have 10 value of 0, that is female. If we have 20 numbers of number 1, that is male. So we can measure by using pseudo variable or dummy variable. We will see all of this one in the future. With this, we come to our end of the program. Thank you for being part of today's session. I hope you find it helpful and informative. If you enjoyed the lesson, don't forget like, subscribe, and share my channel for more content on economics and other variable, that is other subjects, research, economics, different kinds of economics, that is microeconomics, macroeconomics, and also there is another economics parts, environmental economics, agricultural economics, and everything will be included under my my YouTube. And in our upcoming session, we will explore a research proposal. Thank you.